Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I will tell you the investigations for recurrent pregnancy loss. Starting with initial basic test depending on presentation. Full blood count if there is bleeding, anemia or planned surgery. Blood group, RHD status in a current pregnancy. Renal and liver profile if anticoagulation or systemic disease is relevant. Urine or serum beta HCG if current pregnancy status is uncertain. These are not all investigations for the cause of recurrent miscarriage. They address safety and comorbidity. Antiphospholipid antibody testing request lupus anticoagulant, anticardiolipin IgG, IgM. Consider anti-beta 2 glycoprotein 1 IgG and IgM according to laboratory panel and specialist advice. APS requires compatible clinical criteria plus persistent antibody positivity. Positive tests should be repeated at least 12 weeks apart, and under RCOG advice, testing should be undertaken at least 6 weeks after the miscarriage to reduce misleading result. Do not routinely screen every woman with early recurrent miscarriage for factor V latent, prothrombin gene mutation, protein C deficiency, protein S deficiency, antithrombin deficiency. Inherited thrombophilia have at most a weak association with recurrent early miscarriage. Testing may be considered for selected women with second trimester loss, personal VTE, or strong family history. Protein S testing during pregnancy is difficult to interpret. Thyroid assessment. TSH free T4 if TSH is abnormal. Thyroid peroxidase antibodies. RCOG and ASHRAE recommend thyroid functioning test assessment and TPO antibodies. The new ASRM 2026 document recommends TSH in selected recurrent pregnancy loss patients but does not recommend routinely thyroid antibody screening in euthyroid women because levothyroxine has not improved outcome in that group. State the RCOG approach first in examination and mention the discrepancy only if asked. Diabetes and other endocrine investigations. HbA1c if she has diabetes, previous gestational diabetes, obesity or other risk factors. Prolactin only with oligomenorrhea, amenorrhea, galactorrhea, headache or visual symptoms. PCOS evaluation when history suggests it. Appropriate androgen assessment only for clinical hyperandrogenism. Do not routinely order day 2 FSH LH for all recurrent pregnancy loss patients. Random progesterone, luteal phase testing, ovarian reserve testing, fasting insulin solely because she has miscarried. Homocysteine. ASHRAE specifically advises against routine prolactin LH, ovarian reserve and luteal phase testing without relevant symptoms or indications. Uterine anatomy first line 3-dimensional transvaginal ultrasound where available. This assess uterine contour, septum, bicorporeal, bicarnoate uterus, fibroids, polyps, ovaries and PCOS morphology. Second line when required saline infusion sonography, hysteroscopy for suspected intracavitary lesion or when treatment may be performed. MRI with 3D ultrasound is unavailable or the anomaly remains uncertain. HSG mainly when tubal patency is also relevant. 3-dimensional transvaginal ultrasound is preferred method because it evaluates both the uterine cavity and external fundal contour. Hysteroscopy alone can see the cavity but cannot reliably distinguish a septate from bicorporeal uterus without assessment of external contour. If a Mullerian anomaly is diagnosed, consider renal tract imaging because associated urinary anomalies may occur. Genetic investigations of pregnancy tissue. Offer cytogenetic testing of products of conception from third and subsequent miscarriage. Product from any second trimester miscarriage. Where available, use an array-based technology or chromosomal microarray with attention to maternal cell contamination. Newer ASRM approach. ASRM 2026 supports array-based chromosome evaluation of miscarriage tissue as an early step in all patients undergoing recurrent pregnancy loss assessment. This is a newer and broader approach than RCOG. Possible results. Aneuploid, generally sporadic, no parental karyotype necessary required. Unbalanced structural rearrangement, request parental karyotype. Euploid, focus more strongly on uterine, APS, endocrine and selected other causes. Failed, no tissue, parental karyotype may be considered. Parental karyotyping offer maternal and paternal peripheral blood karyotyping when pregnancy tissue shown an unbalanced structural chromosomal abnormality. Pregnancy tissue testing failed, no suitable tissue is available. There is a strong family history of congenital or chromosomal disorders. Routine parental karyotyping of every couple is low yield and is not the preferred RCOG strategy. Cervical assessment. For previous painless second trimester loss, cervical surgery, or suspected cervical insufficiency, review old records carefully. Arrange serial transvaginal cervical length surveillance in next singleton pregnancy, generally between 16 and 24 weeks. Consider cerclage based on previous history, cervical length, and specialist assessment. Women with second trimester losses suggestive of cervical weakness should receive serial cervical sonographic surveillance. Tests not routinely recommended. Do not indiscriminately order. Torch screen, routine vaginal or cervical culture without symptoms, routine endometrial biopsy, and natural killer cell testing, HLA testing, cytokine panels, routine ANA panels in every patient, routine sperm DNA fragmentation in every couple, routine inherited thrombophilia screen for early losses, routine progesterone level, routine ovarian reserve test. ASHRAE states that peripheral or endometrial natural killer cell testing cannot currently guide treatment and that HLA and cytokine testing should not be used routinely. Selected newer consideration. ASRM 2026 allows selective consideration of endometrial biopsy for chronic endometritis in otherwise unexplained recurrent pregnancy loss, particularly with infertility, sperm DNA fragmentation in otherwise unexplained recurrent pregnancy loss, or concurrent infertility. These are selective investigation, not a compulsory basic panel.